So, how could tiny houses get me to financial independence then?
Well, let's look at a tiny house example. This is just one example. There are many, many ways to get a tiny house, but the whole idea is if you can get out of either renting or a large mortgage and using up all of your weekends, that you can be well on your way to financial independence. I recently attended the Innovative Housing Showcase in Washington, D.C., and the Secretary of HUD, Ben Carson, made an interesting observation in one of his talks. He said that people that own a home have a net worth 5 times those that rent. So obviously, renting is not a good thing for the tenant. It's probably a good thing for the landlord because the tenant pays his mortgage and he builds wealth, passive residual income. Well, in order to get to home ownership, a lot of people say, well, I've got to have good credit, I've got to have down payment, I've got this, I've got that. Well, a tiny house is a path, and here's a path for a $45,000 tiny house on wheels where you save up $3,000. Maybe it's your tax return or what have you, and you get a grant for $6,000. And we can go later into, and not at this seminar or webinar, but later into how this grant works. But it really is a wide, broad stroke. It's through the Operation Tiny House and things, people like veterans or active military, your people that are in the fire department, police department, our first responders are in that, teachers are involved in that. Also, if you're live in an area that was hit by devastation like a fire or a flood or a hurricane, you can qualify for the grant. And there's just a lot of different places and ways that a person can get this grant. Not everybody, but it is a qualifying grant. But a grant is something you don't have to pay back. So if you could save up $3,000 and get $6,000 in a grant, that's your 20% that you would need to put down on a tiny house if the lender required that 20% down if they're going to give you 80%. And then you would get a loan for $36,000 or 80% of the loan. At 10% interest only, the payment would be $300 a month on that. So with $3,000 cash down and $300 a month, you're out of the renting loop and you're into the home ownership loop. And that's how easy it is to get into a tiny house. And guys, if you're interested in finding out more information about this grant, please click on the link below and watch the video. We've done a video specifically about the qualifications for the grant.